Hey y'all, I'm back. Welcome to the Battle Wounds podcast. Yes, formerly Coffee House Conversations podcast. I am now relaunching and rebranding into Battle Wounds podcast. So much to talk about why I relaunched and rebrand this podcast. First, I want to welcome you. I'm so thankful that you've tuned in. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been, say, 3 years and 6 months to date. Yeah, the last episode was marked March 22nd, the year 2020. Man, here we are, December 22nd, the year 2023. So much to cover. But again, thank you so much for tuning in to the newly relaunched and rebranded Battle Wounds podcast. And I'm your host, Amos St. John. So, how are you doing? 3 years and 6 months have passed. And here we are today, closing the year 2023. So, for many of you who are wondering, where is Amos St. John these days? Yes, I am still in Dallas, Texas. Thankfully, still in Dallas, Texas. 3 years and 6 months ago, I was married. Unfortunately, I am no longer married. I am divorced. That's a whole nother episode. But yes, I am divorced. Me and my ex-wife have parted ways amicably about a year and a half ago. And here we are today, co-parenting our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Princess Gracie. And that's a whole other world to experience divorce and dealing with that. But and we'll go into it. But here we are today, closing the year 2023. I'm still all about health being wealth. Health is wealth. Yes, I'm still trying to hang in there with my weight loss. And for those who are just now newly tuning in, first of all, subscribe right now. Subscribe right now, okay? Secondly, make sure you rewind back to episode 1. And you kind of gonna see the journey that where I was 3 years ago. I actually did that myself to kind of just refresh my memory and my goodness. I am so thankful that I have that. It's almost like a time capsule of just going back 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, before all of that we've gone through in the past 3.5 years. So please go back to the prior episodes. There's some rich information. You see, I'm not just going to ramble on. You're going to have some takeaways each episode. Okay, I have a takeaway for this episode. And so please hang in there. Subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you like it. Make sure you leave reviews so we can build this momentum again and build a community of people who are wanting to better their lives and add value, not to just themselves, but to others around them. And so that's what I'm about. I'm all about adding value to other people. I realize as I reflect on my 44 years of life, 44 years, and I realize the common denominator, I've always been one that enjoys adding value, inspiring, helping people. And as I contemplated coming back on this podcast to doing it, and I mentioned before, and even on my IG, I said, man, everybody now is doing a podcast. I mean, everybody. And so why am I deciding to get back on the podcast world and share my story with you and kind of share with the wisdom and all the knowledge I've picked up in my journey this far? I feel like, I still have a place in this world. And I shouldn't focus on quantity. I should focus on quality. So that's the goal. This whole podcast is to focus on quality. I'm not too concerned of the quantity. Of course, I want you to subscribe. I want 1 million subscribers, you know what I'm saying? But if it doesn't happen, and if I have only 100 or 200,000, let me stop. I am focusing on the quality. So what I share with you is pure quality. It's stuff that I have lived through, stuff that I have learned, and that I've applied to my life. And the areas that I'm not so strong in, that's when you'll see some guests. You're gonna be getting information from some people who are bona fide. And I don't say experts, but they are tried and true in their area of expertise. That's what I'm about in this podcast. Yes, also in this podcast, Battle Wounds, that it's being relaunched and rebranded. The title Battle Wounds comes from, throughout the pandemic, I spent a lot of time in the gym. Of course, my journey, if you could go through the episodes and rewind to that part where I decided to embark into another phase of my weight loss journey. Part of it is, being in the gym. And so I spent a lot of time in the gym during the pandemic. And I was going through a lot at the time. And I met a lot of great men there. I met a lot of great people there, just, and conversing, sitting in a sauna or just sitting down, just, recuperating from exercise. And I embarked into a lot of great conversations. And what I've noticed is that I was not the only person going through a battle. A lot of men were going through similar battles. And I realized, I'm not going through this just for myself. I'm going through this to help someone else. So this podcast, Battle Wounds, yes, some of us are battling things and some people aren't battling anything. They're just going through life. But at some point you will struggle and battle through stuff and overcome it, because I believe you will overcome it. But with that does come some wounds, and it's important that you take time to heal and allow those wounds to heal. So battle wounds are good reminders of what you've come from, and also a reminder of who you can help warn or provide wisdom or insight on what's to come in life and what to overcome in life. And so battle wounds resembles that primarily for men, all the guys, all the fellas. This is for you, but also for the women who want to get a little bit of a sneak peek into the mind of men and understand what we go through. Because sometimes as men, we get so caught up behind the bravado of being men. We can't cry, we can't scream, we can't suffer, we can't go through emotions. And a lot of women are just anticipate, hey, you're built to carry the load, which is true. But there is another side where we are wounded and we need time to heal and a safe space to attend to our wounds and tend to our issues and heal and grow and get back on the field and go on with our lives. So battle wounds is that part, that resource to help men who are going through battles that they are scared to talk about publicly. Men who are going through battles who are not fully aware what it is they're going through, and to hear someone else speak something that they didn't know that someone else was going through, like, oh my gosh, you're going through that too? Yes, they can relate. Battle Wounds is about that. Women, you are welcome. Listen, you get to understand, because sometimes, with our surroundings, women, sometimes you get too familiar with your loved ones, and you may not necessarily take the opportunity to hear them out. And this podcast allows you to just hear that perspective, their perspective, and provides a little bit more understanding and empathy, prayerfully, from a male perspective, to understand, like, we go through stuff too. We may not go through that cycle monthly that Mother Nature provides for our women, but we go through our own share of challenges that we go through that women may not be aware of or even care to be aware of. So this podcast is going to share that. And also we're going to talk for the women too. We're going to share that, we are not exempt from the problems as men as we've caused. Yes, we've hurt many women. We've done some things that were not good. And so we'll talk about that. It's totally honest, is open and transparent. I will share a part of my journey in the past 3 years. I'm not in the business. Before I go to what I was about to say, I was looking at a couple of months ago, there is a conversation between Jeezy and Nia Long. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Jeezy, the rapper, and Nia Long. Both of them have gone through or going through public I won't say domestic issue, but they're going through marital or relationship issues publicly, and it's somewhat embarrassing for some. And they sat there and had this hour-long conversation. It was so honest, open, and transparent. You can see that these people are doing the work. They are working on themselves. They're not out here acting acting like a victim or acting like the world did them wrong. No, they are putting themselves out there. That conversation was beautiful to me. It was like a brother and sister just talking about life. And one thing I noticed that Jeezy said that really struck me. Jeezy said, you know what? I'm a person of integrity. So you know what? I can say something that puts a negative light on someone, but I choose not to. So I mirror that. I will not try or even intend to put a negative light on anyone in my life or in my past, because I'm a person of integrity. And so as I even talk about my what I've overcome in the past 3 years, my goal is to not shine a negative light on anyone that I may have crossed paths with, including my ex-wife. Yes, we've gone through a divorce. It was not pretty. Thankfully, we ended amicably, and we're co-parenting in a very healthy way. But there's things I refuse to try to, what my therapist call influence the jury. I will not try to influence the jury to see my side of things. That's not my goal. All I want to show is that the work that I've done within myself to better myself, to see a different perspective, to heal from those blind spots, those things that I didn't notice were dug deep in my life that I left unresolved. I've been doing the work. And I want to share with you what I have come from, what I've learned from in doing the work that has brought me to where I am today. Now, I still got a ways to go. I'm not there, but I am further than I've been in 3 years ago. I'm in a whole different place. I am a different person. And I want to help someone. I want to help you. And so, yes, I said that I kind of, went on a little soapbox concerning Jeezy and Nia Long. But yes, that integrity, my goal is to never trash anyone or to try to share a negative light on anyone else. So please hear my heart as I continue to share this journey that I've gone through concerning battle wounds. Yeah, so going through a divorce, going through what I had to go through, it forced me to look in the mirror. A lot of people didn't see anything on social media. Divorce is kind of running rampant nowadays. Everybody, you would think, were strong couples. They're just impenetrable. Their marriage broke, totally collapsed, divorce. It's a common thing. It's like buying a pack of M&Ms or Skittles. It's so common nowadays. And for me, I didn't use that as a scapegoat or even recommend it or even suggest it or even bring it up to the table unless I had to, unless it was a place that I felt like I will self-destruct or do something destructive. So it's important to understand that, yes, there is a point where divorce is an option, biblically also. And so you just understand that these days we're living in a very, really weird time concerning everybody's getting a divorce. Things are just happening left and right. And so there's some things that I learned about myself in that. I had to look in the mirror and could not point the finger at no one else but myself. So I want to encourage you as you go through whatever you're going through. It is very convenient and easy and somewhat justified to point the finger at someone else. It's someone else's fault that hurt me. That's someone else that betrayed me. That's someone else that really, really did something wrong to me. But sometimes you have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Was there something that I allowed? Was there a boundary that I never established? Were there some things that I did not do in my life that basically opened the floodgates for the disrespect, for whatever boundary to be crossed? Because obviously there wasn't a boundary. So it's sometimes you have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I think the very issue that happened to me, I allowed to happen. So the change is don't allow it. Don't allow those things. You have to establish boundaries. And so anyways, I'm really going into a whole nother lesson, but I just a little foretaste of basically the experience and the lessons that I learned. 3.5 years ago, I wasn't in therapy. I was always a proponent for it. But for the last 2 years, I've been walking with a therapist and really deconstructing some things and really learning to build some things within myself. And my therapist has encouraged me to say, Amos, you're not going through what you've gone through just for you. You are going through what you're going through to help someone else. So I am here to help someone else. And I am so excited about this podcast. I'm going to reach out to quite a few of you. And if you're interested in just being a part of this journey, feel free to DM me, send me a private message on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm there. It is Battle Wounds Pod on Instagram. Look for that also on Facebook. And here I am also on YouTube. Look me up, Amos St. John. I'm on YouTube. Subscribe. I'm telling you, it's going to be It's going to be a continuation, but almost a graduation from where I left off. Yes, I listened to those podcasts, those 21 other episodes. Man, there's some great stuff in there. And so I dare not to erase it. I even won't erase the marriage part. From me and my ex-wife did a couple of episodes. I'm not going to erase it. I want you and myself to see the journey of life with this ups and its downs. And so, yes, it's going to remain there. It's going to be sometimes very difficult to look at because it gives you a memory, but you need that to remind how far you've come and what you learned from that. And so, yes, those episodes you'll see, they're not going anywhere unless something else is specified. But yes, those episodes will remain there. All episodes from where I was 3.5 years ago. And we're moving on and going to a whole new level of things. I want you to win. I want you to heal. I want you to grow. Okay. But there's 3 things I want to leave you before we go. There's 3 things in order to heal and grow and graduate to the next level in your life. There's 3 things I want you to do. First thing, I want you to grieve the loss, grieve those things or those people that are no longer in your life, whether through passing away or just moving on. That is a difficult process to be very, very, very gentle with yourself. Be patient with yourself in grieving that. Second thing I want you to take from this, as you grieve and learn, you grow. Yes, you grow from it. First, you grieve. Secondly, you continue to grow in your life. Learn and cherish those memories and learn from those past mistakes and just grow from it. It's very difficult. Yes, but there is such a benefit in growing even through pain. Yes, there's a purpose through that pain. Grow from it. I guarantee you'll be stronger. And then thirdly and finally, be grateful. Have gratitude. All right. Instead of complaining and wondering, oh my gosh, woe is me. I said, I'm thankful that I woke up this morning. I'm thankful that I have a roof over my head. I'm thankful I may have a few dollars in the bank. I'm thankful that I can actually have food to eat. There's the simple things. I've learned the older I am getting, I have to be I'm so thankful for the simple things. And it forces me, or it encourages me not to complain. And I don't practice complaining. I am grateful. Anytime I want to complain, well, this, nothing, I just think, you know what, at least I got this happening and someone else doesn't. So learn to be grateful and have gratitude, okay? But yes, be gentle and grieve. Take your time. Grief is not an overnight process. But as you grieve and properly grieve, you grow. And you grow, you continue to be grateful. I'm telling you, y'all, those are things that I'm telling you, if you learn to apply them in your life, one step at a time, one day at a time, it's going to be beautiful. The results are so beautiful. Listen, y'all, I'm thanking you so much for tuning in to my returning episode of the newly reformed Battle Wounds podcast. And I'm your host, Amos St. John. And until next time, please remember that health is wealth. See you next time.